Welcome to This Explainer. So glad you're joining us today because we're diving into one of the absolute most critical foundational decisions in modern software engineering. If you think about it, web apps, mobile apps, admin panels, background workers, AI agents, literally all of them rely on APIs. APIs are the absolute connective tissue of our modern software world. But, as our applications have gotten way more complex, how we design that connective tissue has really had to evolve. We're definitely not living in a one-size-fits-all world anymore.
Right, let's jump straight into the core conflict here. Which API style should you actually be using? Is it REST, GraphQL, gRPC? And look, choosing the wrong API style for your specific use case, it's not just some minor inconvenience. It can create massive architectural pain down the road. We're talking about slowing down your front-end teams, totally overloading your back-end servers, and honestly, just completely frustrating your external partners.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the API architecture dilemma. Then, we'll break down REST, the reliable web default. After that, we'll explore GraphQL, the flexible query, followed by gRPC, the internal powerhouse. And finally, we'll wrap up with how to actually build a mixed architecture. Okay, kicking things off with part 1, the API architecture dilemma. Let's really look at why making this decision is so incredibly tough in the first place, and what the true cost of that complexity actually looks like.
Because let's face it, modern applications are being pulled in a dozen different directions at once. Think about a mobile client. It needs tiny, super compact data payloads because it's dealing with spotty cellular networks. But then a rich web dashboard? That needs massively nested data just to render a single page. And your internal microservices? Well, they just need raw, blistering speed. So before we start throwing solutions around, we have to recognize the very real pain points of forcing the wrong tool onto a problem. If you force REST onto a complex front end, you're going to end up with endless endpoints. If you use GraphQL without strict discipline, you severely risk your back-end performance. And gRPC? Sure, it's insanely fast, but it is highly inconvenient for simple public web integrations.
Moving right along to part 2, REST, the reliable web defaults. Now, this is the standard you probably already know best, and honestly, for very good reason. As a quick refresher, REST stands for Representational State Transfer. It's entirely resource-oriented. You expose a resource, say a user or a course, right through a simple URL. From there, you just use those standard, universally understood HTTP methods that we all use every day. Get to retrieve it, post to create it, and so on. It's incredibly simple, beautifully familiar, and it works so naturally with the underlying architecture of the web itself, which, of course, makes it a fantastic default choice for public or SaaS APIs. And REST just has this proven, incredible stability. Because it leverages standard HTTP, it's highly cacheable by browsers and CDNs right out of the box, almost for free. Plus, it's ridiculously easy to test and debug using basic tools like curl or Postman, and it naturally forces you into clear resource modeling. So despite all the flashy new trends out there, REST absolutely remains one of the most practical and widely supported API styles in modern software engineering. But here's the catch. REST has a pretty massive fatal flaw, and it rears its ugly head when a client needs highly complex nested data. Just imagine a learner dashboard for a second. With REST, you often run into overfetching. That's where a single endpoint returns like 50 totally useless fields just to give you the 2 you actually needed. Or on the flip side, you get underfetching. That's where your client is suddenly forced to make 5 sequential, painstakingly slow network requests just to gather the user profile, the courses, and the notifications required to build one single screen.
Which brings us to part 3, GraphQL, the flexible query. And this one completely flips the script on how we actually ask for our data.
So, instead of calling a bunch of fixed endpoints, GraphQL gives you an API query language. The client sends a single, highly specific query that describes exactly the shape of the data it wants based on a strict schema. And the server, it returns exactly that. Literally nothing more, nothing less. So going back to that learner dashboard we just talked about, well now, it can ask for a user's name, their active courses, and their unread notifications all bundled up in one single, precise request. I mean, that is a massive, game-changing win for front-end development speed.
But as we know, there's no such thing as a free lunch. The crucial takeaway here is that while GraphQL is incredibly powerful for front-end flexibility, it basically shoves all of that complexity straight onto the back-end developers.
Caching, it isn't just native and free anymore. Backend teams have to actively write code to prevent that dreaded N+1 database query problem, where requesting a list of items accidentally triggers hundreds of individual database lookups instead of just one. Plus, authorization has to be meticulously handled at the individual field level, and you absolutely have to implement strict limits on query complexity. If you don't, you leave your system wide open to massive, deeply nested requests that'll totally tank your performance.
All right, let's shift gears to part 4, gRPC, the internal powerhouse. And guys, this is where things get seriously fast. gRPC is a high-performance remote procedure call framework, and it's built largely for internal service-to-service communication. It essentially swaps out bulky JSON for a super compact binary format, using strongly defined contracts known as protobufs or protobufs. And unlike REST, which as we discussed is entirely resource-oriented, gRPC is action-oriented. You aren't just fetching a course, you're actually executing specific back-end tasks, things like generate certificate or send email, and you're doing it with absolute blazing speed and efficiency. When we compare these three side by side, it really proves they are not direct competitors fighting for the exact same job. They are highly specialized tools. As you can see, REST really excels in public compatibility with that native HTTP caching. GraphQL absolutely dominates for complex front ends thanks to its strong schema typing. And gRPC, it completely rules the internal microservices layer with its ultra-fast binary data format.
Now for the final piece of the puzzle, part 5, building a mixed architecture. Let's look at how the best modern architectures actually combine all three of these. We're going to use a fictional app, let's call it the Uplatz learning platform, as a quick case study here. Here is how you build a true powerhouse platform. Step 1. You expose REST APIs for your external partners, your public websites, and webhook integrations, simply because it's universal and everybody understands it. Step 2. You utilize a GraphQL layer specifically tailored for your complex, data-heavy learner web apps and mobile dashboards to give your front-end teams that ultimate flexibility. And finally, Step 3. Deep down in the backend, you wire your microservices together using gRPC for those lightning-fast, heavily contracted internal operations. By mixing this architecture, you're literally giving everyone exactly what they need without having to compromise.
But remember, throwing new technology at a problem won't magically fix a messy system. You have to maintain deep architectural discipline no matter what style you pick. You've got to enforce strict authorization because knowing who someone is just isn't enough. You really have to control what they're actually allowed to do. You also need strong, well-defined API contracts, whether that's OpenAPI, a GraphQL schema, or protobufs. You must implement careful versioning so you don't break things for your users. And honestly, most importantly, you need to measure real-world workflows, not just theoretical protocol speeds. I absolutely love this quote, and I think it just perfectly summarizes everything we've covered in this explainer today. Do not ask which API style is best, ask which API style fits this use case. It's such a brilliant reminder that good architecture should always follow your actual requirements and never just the latest industry hype.
So I want you to take a really hard look at your own systems today. Are you just forcing one API style everywhere simply because it's what your team knows best? Or are you truly evaluating your needs and using the absolute right tool for the job? Is your current API architecture actually holding back your application's true potential? Start matching your architecture to your actual use cases and just watch your application's true potential unlock. Thanks for joining us today.